Good day, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inspired with Christopher Williams. I am your host, Christopher Williams, navigator and motivator, with you on the path to accomplishing your goals and achieving your dreams. A big thank you to everyone out there who's tuning into the show, sharing the show, talking about the show in the workplace, anything you're doing that involves the show. We appreciate it. Thank you very much for my friends on social media, those guys who are following me, facebook.com/Williams Inc., the new Instagram page, Williams_Enterprises, and of course through email, Christopher@OneWilliamsEnterprises.com. Always checking in. Hey, I'm a fan of you guys as much as you are of me, so I'm always out there looking in ways to see if I can be of assistance. Just kind of keeping up with you guys as much as you keep up with me. So trust me, I learn just like you. So any information that you have for me, feel free to share it. Feel free to let me know how you feel about the show. Anything that you want to see on the show that we haven't covered as of yet, hey, let me know. I'd be glad to use it. As a matter of fact, we're going to continue with our Viewer's Choice segments. Today is another episode that we're going to do that. We're going to make this a continuation of last episode as far as building a team. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about characteristics of a good team, right? Because if you're not going to build a good team, why are you going to build a team? So what we're going to talk about today is those things that make a good team, just that. We're going to also talk a little bit about the stages of a team. No matter what kind of team you have, and no matter how good your team is, all teams go through different stages in the team building process. So some teams go through certain stages at different times. Some teams don't go through as much of one stage as they do another. But the idea is that in some way, shape, form, or fashion, you're going to see some of these characteristics come up in your team that you're building. So it's best that we kind of prepare you for that, so that you kind of know what to expect and maybe a little bit about how to overcome these challenges, all right? So most teams are going to go through 4 stages. You're going to get your orientation stage. You're going to get your dissatisfaction stage. And both of these stages they sound really bad, and they sound just like, well, why do I want to go through something like that? But you got to remember, you're bringing in vast talent. You're bringing in diverse groups. You're bringing in people who bring their own experiences. No matter how great those experiences are, you got to realize that people are going to be people. And people are going to take time. There's going to need time for you guys to really try to get together and grow that in syncness, I guess, that you're going to need. So when you talk about the orientation stage, you think about orientation in any way that you've ever experienced it, right? Whether you're going to college, you got your orientation where you're just finding out everything to know about school in the first couple of days. Well, this is the same thing. You're going to go through those stages that I call, this orientation stage that I like to call the sniffing out point. Anybody with animals knows exactly what that is. It was one animal comes and sniffs the other one, not to be mean, but they just trying to figure out what's going on, right? So that's what this stage is. Everybody's going to be testing the waters with everybody. Questions are going to come up, answers to questions are going to come up that everybody may not understand as much as you think, because everybody's new to everybody. So that's kind of what the orientation stage is. You're laying the groundwork to say this is who we're going to be. You're introducing yourself. You're letting everybody know what you've been through, what you bring to the table. And sometimes, that can be an interesting process. Everybody's trying to figure out where they fit on this team. So that's what the orientation stage is mainly about. Now, ways you can overcome some of the things or some of the challenges you might face is just make sure that you kind of set the pace kind of early, as much as you can with the given talent that you have. You want to make sure that everybody is continuing to be vested. On the last episode, we talked about that being one of the qualities that you want in somebody that's joining your team. You want to make sure that everybody remembers why they invested their time, talent, and treasure into this team or into this group, right? So that's something that you can use to kind of overcome that orientation stage. Now, when you look at the dissatisfaction stage, it's really a stage where everybody's trying to understand exactly what they like and what they don't like, okay? And it's not a bad thing, actually. If you guys can keep clarity as one of the things that you can use to kind of overcome this stage, it actually makes this a little bit more manageable, because you're going to go through some of these things anyway. But the more you can get into these things to manage these issues, the better you're going to be. So when you think of the dissatisfaction stage, you're going to think of times where people are going to just not like things. You're dealing with professionals, hopefully, so you're going to have people who are going to address their discomfort or their opposition to things in very different ways. So this is a stage where you're going to really see who these talented people on your team really are. Okay, so just remember, you're going to have those things where people are going to tell you right off they don't like something. Some people may not even like, you as a leader of the team. You never know. Some people may have an issue with the way you do things or the way you run meetings, or just the way people may, respond to things that you ask them for. This is okay. Believe it or not, it's actually okay. You may think, well, why is that okay? That's a problem. No, not necessarily. All this stuff has to take place so that you guys can become more in sync with each other. You need to know what each member of your team likes, how they like to work, how they respond to feedback. That's one of the biggest things you can have, because the more delegation you give, the more empowerment you give to somebody, you're going to really see how they take it, and you may necessarily need to give them some kind of feedback, whether that be positive or negative. Some people don't like being put on the spot. How would you ever know that unless you made a mistake and put somebody on the spot a couple times? You have to trust them that they're going to tell you, hey, I don't like that. I don't work as well with that kind of attention. But all these things are a part of the dissatisfaction stage. Now, your next two stages in this 4-step process are going to be integration. And, of course, your last step is going to be production. Okay, now, once you hit your integration stage, you've kind of come to a point where a lot of that issue that comes into the dissatisfaction process or the dissatisfaction stage, you're now starting to see your way through that, okay? So when you start looking at integration, it's just as it sounds. You're starting to take the good and a little bit of the bad that you couldn't get worked out, and you're starting to now see how those things can actually line up with each other and kind of integrate to make the team that you really know that you can make out of the talent that you have. So people are starting to really understand that the people on their team are who they are, good or bad. They're starting to realize that no matter what conflict we have, we're still a team. So you now start to get that we factor, right? It now becomes more of we as of our team instead of me as a member on the team. So as you go forward and as you're in this process, you're going to start to see a lot of things change. And that's one of the best things about this, is that you're going to start seeing things change from, okay, this is maybe not what I thought it was going to be, to now you're starting to look at the positives in this stage especially, to say, hey, we're actually pretty good. We work really well together. We might not work like I thought we were going to work, but guess what? We actually work a little bit better. Or this may not look like I thought it would, but guess what? It looks a little bit better than I could have ever imagined it to be. So you're now starting to see people who are taking ownership of the team, taking that ownership upon themselves. So when a deadline is missed, guess what? Oh, well, we dropped the ball, or well, we missed the deadline. It's not, Janet missed the deadline or Tim missed the deadline. You're starting to really take ownership of that, and you're starting to really feel that we factor. And that's exactly, at this point of your team, that's exactly where you want to be. Now, when you look at the production part, which is the last stage, you guys are pretty much gelling right now. Everybody's hitting on all 4 cylinders. Everybody's popping out. Any kind of deadlines coming up. You guys are really starting to gel as a team. So now, you've seen where you've come from and you're seeing where you're trying to go. And everybody kind of has a renewed vigor to say, you know what? I can see past this particular goal. I'm starting to look at the next goal, or I'm starting to look at the next challenge, or I'm starting to look at how I can be more productive when it comes to the next step of whatever process or whatever goal we have to attain. Especially as an entrepreneur, this is very important, because you have to remember, when it goes back to your buy-in, like I said, when we talked on the last episode about buy-in, you really want to make sure that everybody is still as dedicated to your goal or to the vision as they once were. And sometimes when you go through these stages, you kind of lose sight of that because you're so busy trying to put out fires, right? This person doesn't work well with this person, so now they're thinking they don't belong on the team at all. And you're having to deal with a lot of those kind of issues. But the more you guys can just hang in there, the longer you guys can just stick it out to say, you know what, I'm going to find the sweet spot of this person. I'm going to find why they're so good at what they do. Because you have to remember, you haven't really hit the peak yet, right? You guys are still growing, you guys are still going. And with each goal that you have, you're not going to achieve it in the same time frame as some other goals, right? Some goals are going to be a little bit harder to attain or harder to achieve than others. So to really get that peak point or to hit that sweet spot of any kind of person or any kind of benefit or accomplishment that they may either have brought to the table or that they may be able to provide you, you're going to have to take the time to go through these processes to get there. So just keep that in mind as you're going through these steps. It may be a little scary, I understand. That's why I said reach out to me. I'm always here. Facebook.com/Williams Inc. Christopher at OneWilliamsEnterprises.com. And of course, even through my Instagram page, there's a place you can leave comments there as well. Williams_Enterprises. Ask me any questions if you have any concerns about any teams that you may be forming or any kind of business venture that you're going into. You got some investors that are coming in and you're like, these people are used to dealing with all kinds of money and sums of money, and I'm trying to make sure I can make everybody happy to work with me. And it can get very tense, but what you have to realize is that the buy-in factor. Why did we all come together? Why did everybody agree to do this? And keep them reminded of that. One thing that you can also incorporate within your team, maybe make yourself a mission statement, right? Something that everybody can truly relate to, something that everybody truly has an emotional attachment to. Sometimes it's something that just says, who we are, what we're trying to do, and why we want to do this, right? Tap into that point of every person in your group. The why factor. Why are we doing this? Why are you invested in this? Sometimes those things by themselves can keep people motivated past any kind of setbacks that you may have. But as you go through each step, each of these 4 phases, with that thought in mind, you're going to be able to accomplish anything you guys put your mind to accomplish. And I can guarantee you that you're going to be able to not only achieve the main goal, but you're going to be able to accomplish a lot more after that. And once you hit that point where everybody's thinking of the next step or the next big thing, then you may truly have yourself a team that can be long-standing.
10 years to learn the business. 10 years to make a name. 1 year on your own. It takes time to build a small business, but only 60 days to transform it with email marketing from Constant Contact. Sign up with Constant Contact and get 60 days of free email marketing to generate referrals, connect with clients, and build the business you've always wanted. Constant Contact. Start your 60-day free trial today.
We want to take this time to thank our sponsors for helping make the show possible. We're able to cover a lot of rich and a lot of great content so that a lot of different people can enjoy, whether you're an entrepreneur, a leader, or just someone who wants to accomplish a goal in their personal or professional life. And our sponsors help make this possible. So we want to just say thank you and we appreciate it. Today's point of power is empowerment. I always tell people I don't give answers. I show people and I ask the right questions that help people answer their own questions. So the idea behind empowerment is that it's not for me to necessarily give you an answer, but it's for me to ask you questions that will lead you to your own answer. And that's one thing that you want to remember. Not everybody needs a direct answer for anything. Sometimes if you give people the answer all the time to their questions, they're never really going to know how to go about solving their own problems. So when it comes to empowering others, inspiring others, as I do on this show for you guys, a lot of it's just about the process, right? How do you rationally think about something? Or how do I come to an idea of what my true problem is? If you can help people get to finding out the answer within themselves, then you're helping them grow. You're helping them get stronger. And you're also helping them kind of become their own problem solver. And that's where the true inspiration comes from. As a coach, I'm not always here to give you answers to everything. I truly don't tell you anything that you really don't already know. But my job is to make you think. And when it comes to empowerment, a lot of empowerment is giving people the opportunity to think for themselves, right? So as you're out there, as you're either accomplishing goals and you're coming up on on things that you may feel may be a setback, or if you're in a small group and you guys have come up to a impasse and you really just don't know. Don't always look for an answer, or don't always give somebody an answer if they're asking you for it, but help them think rationally through it. Okay? Help them think about what their true issue is. And you never know. Once you start asking the right questions, then they'll start being able to form the answer on their own. And that's where true empowerment starts. We've had a great time today on the show, as we always do. We've learned a lot of things. We've accomplished a lot of things. And I'm sure we're going to take the information we got today and we're going to apply it to our personal and professional lives, as we always do, okay? So always let me know if you need any help. Facebook.com/Williams Inc. Christopher at OneWilliamsEnterprises.com. The new Instagram page, Williams_Enterprises. And anytime you just want to reach out to me, hey, shoot me an email. I'm always available to you. You want me to come visit, I'm always there for that as well. I love interacting with you guys, and believe it or not, I get just as much out of you guys as you get out of me. So I truly enjoy this time as much as you do. Until next time, stay inspired.